Amanda Lacaze, thanks so much for joining us, and happy birthday.
Thank you, Ticky.
Well, look, let's go to these results, because there was quite a big hit to your half-year profit. What was behind that? I guess all this constant uncertainty and regulation.
So, not really. So I think if you look at the results with a little more than just looking at a single number, you can see there's a lot of real positives. So if we start actually from the revenue, even though the market price for NdPr, which many people use as a surrogate for how successful we're going to be, it's been very low in this 6-month period, yes. Yet the revenue that we've generated is equivalent to the prior corresponding period. And that's reflecting a lot of the good work that we've done over the last 3 years on price and quality. And as a result, the premium that we're getting compared to the published price is improving. So we're very pleased with that. If we look at the actual cost of production, it's come down as well. But what we've got is a few things which have distorted these. So the first is that we've got a quite significant non-cash influence on costs, which is the accelerated depreciation related to the Malaysian cracking and leaching facility. And that comes through cost of goods. As well as that, we've had some extraordinary costs, for example, payments related to the Wesfarmers Defence, which are within that 6-month period. So if you look at, say, for example, EBITDA, which is a really good surrogate for sort of cash profit, it's roughly equivalent to the same period last year.
So really you're talking about one-off hits to the bottom line. So for the outlook is going to be much stronger, do you think?
Well, everything we do is about building value in the business and building resilience into the business. Or as my head of sales says, building muscle. How do you build muscle? You build it by making sure that your price is working in your favour. You build it by making sure that you're match fit in terms of costs. And so we're doing that, and you build it by making sure that you're engaging with your customers in a way that allows them to be successful.
A huge success is your gaining of this 3-year licence at last, and it came in time for your results. They could have waited until afterwards, couldn't they?
It would have been difficult. The 6-month licence expires on the 3rd of March. Yes. So look, I guess you could say... You've
put a lot of work into getting this 3-year licence. It's been up and down, and you've been living off the 6-month licence, haven't you?
Yes, indeed. We've been very focused on ensuring always that we do what is expected from us as an investor in Malaysia, and that means running our plants safely, ensuring that we have no negative effect on the environment. We've never had a public health or environmental incident. It means that we buy locally, we employ locally, we train locally, we engage with our local communities. And, really, notwithstanding all of the various political machinations one way or another, we have been found through 4 different reviews to be low risk and compliant with regulation.
Well, notwithstanding that, it's still been a battle to get. You've now achieved this 3-year licence. We've still got leadership instability in Malaysia now. How can investors have confidence that that 3-year licence is exactly what it says it is?
So, notwithstanding the political environment in Malaysia at present, and it is pretty exciting and very compelling, sort of following all of the 24-hour blogs, but Malaysia is... it's a mature country. It's got well-established laws, courts, political systems. It will be able to deal with this, I believe, as a country. But our licence is actually granted by the Atomic Energy Licensing Board, which is a regulatory authority which is tasked with implementing policy, not something specific to any individual.
So it's statutory and not open to political interference.
Yeah, exactly. That's its role. It's not about just doing something for one company as opposed to another. There is an Atomic Energy Licensing Act. The Atomic Energy Licensing Board's task is to regulate that. So our licence has been granted by the proper regulatory authority after proper consideration and engagement.
And you don't see interference in that over the next 3 years?
As I said, our confidence would be that Malaysia is a country with a strong respect for the rule of law.
Yeah. There are a couple of conditions, of course, to that licence. I mean, the most significant being that you're, after 2023, no longer allowed to bring in that low-grade radioactive ore straight into Malaysia, which has led to your looking at Kalgoorlie for a plant. Now, how is that going?
Oh, excellent. So we were already, because we operate in a growth market, we were already looking for where would we put our growth capital, and we'd already identified that building our next facility in WA was a good idea. So we have we have had excellent engagement with the Kalgoorlie-Boulder City Council. You just couldn't ask for, sort of more cooperative and good thinkers, and I think as we think about building new plants, we have to think about sustainability, we have to think about new technologies ourselves.
And you've got support from the government for it.
Indeed, and so I just wanted to say, Kalgoorlie-Boulder City Council, all the water that comes to, the potable water is piped in a pipeline, but they've put in fabulous water recycling processes, which means that we will have water available to the plant, and that recycling treatment plant is powered from a solar farm. So finding solutions and partnering with government, whether it's at a local, state or a federal government level, to do things as smart as we possibly can, it's actually pretty exciting. So lots of people like to focus, and frankly, we've been thrown just about every challenge that a business can be thrown over the last 5 years. But we're in the process of transformation now, and that in itself is very exciting.
A lot of interest too about what you might be doing in the United States, both in terms of bidding for heavy rare earth production, but also light rare earth production.
Yeah, so we've already submitted a compliant tender to the US government for heavy rare earth separation. Heavy rare earth separation is a sensible thing for us to do in our business. Our business started as an alternative to the fact that there was a geographic monopoly on light rare earth separation. So we provide an alternative choice for end users. Heavy rare earths today, we actually have them in relative abundance. That is, it's very small amounts, but relative abundance compared to other resources in our Mount Weld ore body, but we don't have the ability to separate them ourselves.
In fact, who has the ability?
Only in China.
Yeah.
Only in China.
And given that they go into military and aircraft and everything else.
Every single high-powered magnet, which is really the stuff which is the most important for things like electric vehicles and those sorts of things, needs a small amount of either dysprosium or terbium, which are
But including a joint strike fighter, you think America might want some production outside of China?
Sure, and but I guess what I'm saying is that for us as a business, it is a logical next step.
And what are the chances of you getting the heavy earths one? Because you actually haven't done the separation of heavy earths. Your expertise thus far has been in light.
We have excellent expertise in separating heavies. We have designed the plant. I don't know what our chances of getting it are. You'd have to ask the US government that. But we will build a heavy rare earth separation plant, one way or another, because it's an important and logical step in terms of our product portfolio.
Amanda, finally, let me ask you about coronavirus, because firstly, you're up in Malaysia there. It must be a country that's looking at this as a threat, but also more importantly, the main rare earths market is in China. What has this done to the market, or what could it do?
Well, I think that really first of all, at this stage we have not seen any significant disruption. The largest, we're the second largest rare earth supplier in the world. The largest is Northern Rare Earths, which is in Inner Mongolia. They have not been disrupted at this time. But I think that it is a reminder to all consumers, industrial consumers of these materials, no matter where they are in the world, that a singular supply source has risk. And whether that is, often with rare earths it's been geopolitical risk, which has been discussed, but here's an example of the fact that it can be disrupted from something which is quite far removed from geopolitics. So that is what I would say is probably the most significant thing for us, is a reminder that diversified supply chains are a good thing.
Amanda Lacaze, great to talk as usual. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ticky.